Abolade Salami of 4 Business News. Abolade, it's over to you.
Thank you, Fatima. Good evening and welcome to the Business News segment. The impact of the federal government's economic policies has placed Nigeria on the front line of business destination in Africa. Secretary General, International Chamber of Commerce, John Denton, said Nigeria's ease of doing business index also significantly increased.
Nigeria's total capital flow from January to May of 2019 stood at $14.2 billion, of which foreign direct investment accounted for $2.87 billion, representing a 20.18% of the total amount. Economic watchers attribute this steady capital flow to free prevailing growth in the macroeconomy sector, coupled with the ease of doing business environment created to boost investments.
Well, the economic growth in Africa is looking pretty good for the 21st century. But what we want to make certain is that the opportunities are available for all African citizens, no matter where they are. So we want to make certain that there's clear and transparent rules for business. We want to make certain that there's a lot of opportunity in terms of educational opportunities, that there's investment in skills so that people can participate.
A lot of businesses want to really come here and invest. I'm very happy that the current government is doing a lot of work to do this. The Vice President, is doing a lot with members of his team, representing the President, Muhammadu Buhari, to ensure that we get the best out of these efforts.
The International Chamber of Commerce, Nigeria, says arbitration has aided trade investments through resolution of both foreign and domestic commercial disputes.
The listing of the first and second Sukuk bond on the Nigerian Stock Exchange was targeted at developing the capital markets, as well as encouraging investments in the non-interest bond in order to develop some infrastructure projects across the country. The Director General Debt Management Office, Patience Onia, says it created a platform for investors who couldn't invest in federal government securities to participate in investing in projects they benefit from.
When we make an offer for subscription, how much did we raise? That's what tells us, okay, this is where the market is now. So for the first one, we raised about 104 billion naira. We wanted 100. The second one, we also offered 100. We raised 130 billion. The specific road projects it is financing are listed. It's not hidden. It's listed, so you may want to go through. So there's a lot of transparency. But what we did when we were offering the second Sukuk, we put adverts in the papers that showed you those roads, what they were before and what they were after the Sukuk money. So I hope you didn't miss out on that. Some are still available on our website.
And now let's talk capital market. The market dipped 0.15% at the close of midweek trading. Here are details of today's trading.
Equities market closed negative in Wednesday's trading, depreciating by 0.15% to close the all-share index in 29,772.72 basis points. Volume of shares traded was 1.23 million, valued at 67.89 billion naira, which exchanged hands in 3,441 deals. Market capitalization closed at 13.11 trillion naira. On the gainers list, Fourth Oil, Dangote, Sugar, and ETI led the table, while Nestle, Seplat, and Presco led the table on the losers chart. On sectoral performance, virtually all sectors closed in the red except for NSE Banking that finished in the green, appreciating by 1.34%, while NSE Consumer Goods, Industrial, NSE Insurance, and NSE Oil and Gas depreciated by 0.41%, 0.83%, 0.30%, and 0.65%.
And that's a wrap on business news. The news continues with Fatima in Abuja. Good evening.
Thank you very, very much, Abolade. The race is on to get youths engaged profitably and take their minds off crime. Agriculture, we are told, is one sector through which this can be achieved. That is what the Ondo state government is up to, now that the cropping season is here. The governor, Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, says the season will focus on youth participation to ensure food sufficiency and tackle unemployment. Correct move, if you may ask me. Doris Olumoko tells us about it.
This year's planting season in Ondo State is targeted at youth farmers. This is with a view to encouraging more of them to take to farming. However, the youth who are supposed to play a pivotal role in the agricultural sector, due to one reason or the other, are skeptical.
The government has to address the issue of security, one, and then two, provision of grants, not a loan. Because obviously there's no way you'll be giving a loan to somebody like a graduate like me who doesn't even have a college, and then you're giving me a loan. So you grant two. And then three, maybe ready market, because we know that most agricultural products are perishable in nature.
We want government to give these youths a place, land, where they will be able to practice this agriculture.
The Ondo State government is also championing increased production of major agricultural products through the distribution of various seedlings for the 2019 planting season.
And they are going to distribute 500,000 cocoa. There must be cocoa revolution. And Mr. President, President Muhammad Buhari will be here to flag off cocoa revolution.
The materials to be distributed include 150,000 hybrid cocoa seedlings for 600 farmers at 215 seedlings each. 400 kilograms of maize seed for 200 farmers at 2 kilograms each. All the materials will be given to our farmers free of charge.
Over 1,000 farmers benefited from government's gesture. In Akure, Doris Olumoko, NTA News.
It appears that drug cartels are bent on defying security at the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport to continue with their nefarious activity of planting hard drugs on unsuspecting passengers, especially those traveling to Saudi Arabia. A young boy is being held by security agents for allegedly planting illicit drugs on a 70-year-old who was traveling to Saudi Arabia for Lesser Hajj. Fatima Sanusi Arai reports that this incident occurred when Nigerian authorities were trying to rescue two Nigerians held by Saudi Arabian government on alleged drug trafficking charges. My namesake, let's hear from you.
Malam Aminu Kano International Airport is one of the exit points for air travelers between Nigeria and other countries. Of recent, the airport has been on the news owing to the activities of drug cartel, which is worrisome. Cases of drug trafficking involving innocent passengers traveling to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia were established. This group were alleged to have planted drugs in the luggage of a 65-year-old Abubakar Ibrahim, a father of 18 children. Hassan, his youngest, would have missed out on this fatherly care. Ibrahim was in Saudi Arabia for over 4 months, but regained his freedom following the intervention of the federal government. Another pathetic story is that of 72-year-old Mohammed Hamza, who could have been a victim of the same offense, but was saved by NDLEA after discovering drugs in his luggage, alleged to have been planted by this young man, Hamisu Muhammad, who was also accused of similar offense against 2 women last year.
This is one of the tactics that we have now found out that some of these drug couriers, drug merchandise of deaths, if you like, are now employing. They lure illiterate people to travel. They will sponsor them to Saudi Arabia, and they prepare travel documents for them, and then help to pack their luggage. And in the process, they insert certain narcotic drugs in them.
This rigorous checking at Malam Aminu Kano International Airport is necessary, as some cartel are taking the advantage of unsuspecting passengers and plant drugs, illicit drugs, into their luggages, putting the lives of these passengers in danger.
We assure the passengers should be rest assured that
security measures at this airport, Abubakar Ibrahim is still in shock over his ordeal in the hands of Saudi Arabian government, asking when will justice catch up with his conspirators? This is one question I do not have the answer. In Kano, Fatima Sanusi Garai, NTA News.
It's quite unfortunate, Fatima Garai. Even in our lives, private lives, when certain challenges come our way, we don't hesitate to try any available solution. Natural disasters such as flooding and building collapses have been plaguing the nation, imposing a great deal of challenge to Nigeria. Well, Nigerian surveyors are now to the rescue with promises of a mitigation through mapping. That was when they converged on Awka, Anambra State, to review their roles in stemming this rising tide of natural disasters, even though some are added by human negligence. Daniel Okpai reports.
Natural disasters such as gully erosion, flood, earth tremor and earthquake sometimes pose serious challenges to human existence. Seeking lasting solution to these environmental disasters needs concerted efforts of all stakeholders. For this reason, the surveyors converged on Awka, the Anambra State capital, to chart the way forward on disaster management through geospatial technology.
Now, when surveyors map an area, when you do a topographic survey, you must also measure what they call the highest expected water level. And the highest expected water level is usually a telltale or the tree.
Geospatial data and technology is what rules the world today. Preventing diseases, preventing floods, natural disasters, security applications.
When the natural disaster occurs, there's need for you to have a map of that place. That's where surveyor will come in. When the map is done known, you should not know the people involved. That's where population is coming. Then town planners will now plan.
National mapping infrastructure and geospatial technology in monitoring disaster. The theme was apt, considering the fact that about 40% of arable land in Anambra State has been lost to gully erosion, threatening some parts of the state and beyond.
With rapid population growth, global climate changes, and overuse of natural resources, which are the factors responsible for natural disaster, this brings to the bear the need to highlight current actions in the field of disaster management.
Thank you, Daniel. If an average resident in Lagos or any other city in town is to make a wish, it's likely to be ridding the cities of the humongous waste generated daily. Well, the starting point could be ensuring that Nigeria is no longer a dumping ground for e-waste. One way to achieve this is a project tagged Economy Resources Approach to Electronic Sector, launched in Lagos, and Jennifer Igwe is set to educate us on this strategy for managing e-waste.
The story of e-waste in Nigeria is a sweet and sour one. This is because some electrical and electronics contain valuable and precious metals and materials, and some can only be assessed when discarded.
Gold, silver, copper, palladium, these are precious metals that earn more money in the global market than crude oil. They are in the electronic waste.
E-waste also contains about 1,000 hazardous substances, and many, in their quest to extract precious materials in it, are exposed to their deadly impacts daily. That's not all. When cables and other items in discarded electrical and electronics are burnt, they pollute the environment and endanger lives.
If you get so much money, but you have done so much damage to your health, the money may not be able to get your health back. So it's effort in futility. And then this is also important because we want to get producers of products to produce in a very responsible way.
The project, Circular Economy Approach for Electronic Sector, will help create a system that will formalize activities of those in the e-waste business, especially the informal sector, and ensure the extended producers' responsibilities goes from cradle to when they are discarded.
It's a framework in which manufacturers of electronic equipment are made to be responsible for the entire life cycle of the equipment. So at the end of the day, they are responsible for taking back the unused equipment after the life cycle so that it is being recycled instead of being thrown away.
And so that we can also conclude a good approach to show to the world that how do we implement circular economy. So this is the main expected outcome of the project.
The initiative is by the federal government through the National Environmental Standards and Enforcement Agency, NESTRA, in collaboration with the United Nations Environment Programme and Global Environment Facility, GEF.
And it's important to note that in this gathering we have people from both the formal and informal sector here. So it's going to be a holistic approach that will help in managing e-waste in Nigeria. Correct. From venue of the meeting, Jennifer Igwe reporting.
Thank you, Jennifer, for that good news. Now, over 12 million Africans, especially those in the coastal communities, stand the risk of job loss and dwindling revenue if decisive actions are not taken to end marine plastic pollution. Michael Olale in this report examines Nigeria's quest to end the phenomenon of plastic litters in our ocean.
Do you know that every drop of plastic into the ocean poses danger to the marine ecosystem and threatens the quest to harness the blue economy for greater economic prosperity? Unfortunately, this is not a problem peculiar to Nigeria, but it is a global challenge. Out of the over 300 million tons of plastic produced yearly, at least 8 million tons end up in our oceans and make up 80% of all marine debris, from surface waters to deep sea sediments. The bad news is that once released into the oceans, plastic does not biodegrade, thereby causing social, economic, and ecological impact on both ocean and human health.
Plastic are made of polyvinyl chloride. So this affects the chemical composition of the water, and this chemical is cancerous to human beings, it's cancerous to organisms.
Nigeria is among the top marine plastic polluters in the world, which contributes 0.34 million metric tons annually, and like most African countries, has a poor record of managing waste, as only 10% of rubbish gets to the dumps, according to the United Nations estimates.
It affects navigation. It affects the production of our fishes in the water, especially in the mangrove side. If you see the plastics as they are like this, if it is in the Niger Delta, you see the plastic just surrounding where the breeding ground is, and they cannot produce.
Although there are global commitments to end marine plastics and litters, as a group of 20 summit holding later this month hopes to crack down on such pollution, Nigeria is taking a bold step in line with the regulations of the International Maritime Organization to end the dangers of plastics in our ocean.
We recruited marine litter marshals to enlighten communities by littoral areas on the danger of dumping plastics on our waters. We want to come up with a country-level marine litter or microplastic eradication strategy. And sometime in the next 1 or 2 months, we'll be launching the strategy plan.
The quest to end marine pollution, especially from plastic, is intensifying, as against the alarming statistics that plastics may outweigh fishes in ocean by 2050. In Lagos, Michael Olale, NT News.
I have some questions to ask. Do you know your genotype? And do you also know that you can help reduce the statistics of persons living with sickle cell anemia? Did I hear you say how? You'll find out after the break.
The Nigerian national flag is a sacred national symbol. It is a mark of patriotism and a show of love for our nation to fly the national flag correctly, in the right colors, right dimension, and in the right sizes for each occasion. In recent times, it has been noticed that government offices, corporate organizations, banks, embassies, and other notable institutions fly faded, shredded, and haggard-looking versions of the national flag. This is wrong and must stop. It has also been noticed that some citizens prefer to popularize the national flag of other nations. Fellow countrymen and women, Let us be patriotic. Come, let us show love for our motherland. Fly the correct versions of our national flag in all relevant places. Be patriotic. Be proud ambassadors of our great country.
This message is from the National Orientation Agency.
Extraordinary could be right there in front of you without you even knowing it. It's something unique, rich and rewarding, full of character. A bold expression of flavor like no other. Discover extraordinary flavor. Guinness, made of more.
One Football Confederation, 24 teams, 6 stadiums, 4 cities, 504 African stars, 1 trophy. The Africa Cup of Nations, Egypt 2019 comes alive from June 21 with the showpiece final on July 19, 2019. Watch the 52 matches of the tournament live on Africa's biggest and largest television network, NTA, in partnership with Hotsports. Be part of the biggest soccer fiesta in the African continent as the Super Eagles go on a bold mission to clinch the prestigious title for the 4th time, to the excitement of millions of fans across the length and breadth of Nigeria. Nigeria's premier sports production and marketing group, Hotsports, partners with the biggest, the largest, and the #1 television network in Africa, the NTA, to give Nigerians a memorable viewing experience. Boost fan support for the Super Eagles to glory in Egypt. For inquiries, please contact Abubakar on 0803-331-0175 and Felix on 0803-308-2375. NTA, you can't beat the rich.
Hey, handsome, what's the plan?
Give me 40 bottles.
When you're on the star side, you're on the brighter side. Make you no go dull and come to the brighter side.
Thanks for staying with us. Federal government has described as false the message circulating in the social media purporting a positive case of Ebola virus disease in the country. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health, Mr. Abdul Aziz Mashi Abdullahi, called on members of the public to disregard the rumor and discourage the circulation of any unverified information, which he said could cause harm to innocent people and unnecessary panic among the citizens. He assured that since the reports of outbreaks of Ebola in the Democratic Republic of Congo, heightened surveillance had been ongoing at the various points of entry by officials of the Port Health Services Division of the Ministry to prevent importation into the country. The Permanent Secretary noted that, in line with WHO's guidelines, a recent preliminary risk assessment conducted by the Nigeria Ebola Preparedness Team, coordinated by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, indicates that the overall risk of importation of Ebola to Nigeria from Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda is low. He assured that the Nigerian government remained fully committed while working closely with the WHO, state ministries of health, partners, and all other stakeholders to protect the health of all Nigerians. Still on health, just imagine 200,000 children being born yearly with sickle cell anemia in Nigeria alone, a condition where blood cell hemoglobin is sickled in shape just because their parents did not check their genotype to know if they carry the sickle cell trait AS. Another disheartening fact is that 50% of these children do not celebrate their 5th birthday. At this year's World Sickle Cell Day, those living with the disorder are raising awareness on the condition and advocating implementation of the national policy on sickle cell anemia. Chimdima Ndubisi tells us more.
Adebola Benjamin was born with sickle cell anemia 60 years ago. She's among the 25% of Nigeria's population said to be living with the condition, making the country the highest with sickle cell anemia burden globally. Adebola is lucky to have survived till now. Others do not, after experiencing periodic episodes of crisis stemming from health complications associated with the disease, such as leg ulcer, arthritis, stroke, visual problems, and organ failure. That's not all. They also face stigmatization from the society.
It's not been easy. It's a pain crisis, sickle cell disease, limited. Some of the choices, some of the things that I could have achieved in life.
This summit, therefore, is to create more awareness on the challenges being faced by this group of people and call for implementation of the national policy on sickle cell disease.
Make this in a book form for people to access it, but more than that, we need a lot to back it up.
41-year-old Anthony Anerua is now married and is giving out tips on how he's been able to maintain a healthy lifestyle.
It's very important that you take your medication. Your folic acid, the B complex, paludrin, hydroxyurea, then you know your limits. Don't go beyond your limits. Avoiding fever and stress and avoiding infection. These are the things that can trigger crisis. So when you do away with all those things, then you have adequate rest. So you take enough water, then as well your proper diet. I believe you live a normal life.
For health specialists, the first step to ending sickle cell anemia prevalence is for intending couples to know their genotype and not get married if both are AS. The advocacy is also for the nation to run newborn screening program so as to identify children with the disease early and provide proper treatment. In Abuja, Chimdima Ndubisi, NTA News.
And less than 48 hours to the commencement of AFCON, Nigerian Television Authority assures sports lovers of crystal clear live telecast. Don't go away.
Extraordinary could be right there in front of you, without you even knowing it. It's something unique, rich and rewarding, full of character. A bold expression of flavor like no other. Discover extraordinary flavor. Guinness, made of more.
Good to know you're still there. The Director General NTA, Yakubu Ibn Muhammad, has solicited the support of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation to augment NTA's cost of acquiring the exclusive right to beam live matches of AFCON 2019. The DG says the appeal is born out of a long partnership between NTA and the NNPC. Lydia Samson reports.
A warm handshake of chief executives of two organizations with mutually benefiting relationship spanning decades. This time around, DG NTA Yakubu Ibn Muhammad is leading a powerful delegation to the NNPC TAS to interface on how to make Nigerians happier.
Is by bringing the 52 matches of the forthcoming Africa Cup of Nations to the homes and viewing centers of all Nigerians. It's costing NTA a whopping sum of 1.8 million euros to acquire the rights from the Confederation of African Football. And we are working assiduously to make sure that the offer has been given to us. We have made an advance payment, and we are working assiduously to make sure that Nigerians are part and parcel of this continental fiesta.
GMD NNPC Mekan Tibaru says for a long time NTA has been partners in progress.
Whatever we could do as NNPC will do to support his tenure, to see that he prospers. And NNPC He has shown us special magnanimity. He has shown notice when we have changing programs. He has approved them.
They both agree that sports, especially football, unites Nigerians, with Nigeria participating in AFCON after 6 years. Beaming the tournament live will please Nigerians, and they resolve to ensure the success of AFCON 2019. In Abuja, Lydia Samson, NTA News.
Now to football lovers, as they have been assured of crystal clear live telecast of the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations Egypt 2019. Director General Nigerian Television Authority Yakubu Ibu Mohammed gave the assurance after a visit to the ultra-modern studio of Hotspots Media Nigeria Limited in Lagos. Olumide Eguntala has the details.
After an official meeting on the level of preparation towards the live telecast of the forthcoming AFCON 2019 with the president of Hotspots Media, Taye Gay, the Director General of NTA, Yakubu Ibn Muhammad, was conducted around the facilities and equipment for the transmission and live presentation of the Soccer Fiesta. The dedicated ultra-modern studio is near completion as necessary gadgets are being installed. The Director General was informed that the studio will parade the best set and gadgets that are world-class, while the appearances of the presenters and guests will exhibit the uniqueness of Nigeria. The two parties promised a world-class masterpiece of television production and presentation of the Nations Cup, Egypt 2019, in the Nigerian perspective.
He has seen the state of preparedness. He has seen everything that has been put in place from the set, the environment, i.e. the ambience itself, and then of course he has also seen the lighting. So everything is ready, and we're just waiting for the tournament to start. We say bring it on. We would give it to Nigerians.
We are good to go, and I'm here this afternoon just to see how good we are to go, and I'm really impressed. To say that we are good to go is an understatement. We are very, very ready to go. And I'm impressed by the facilities I've seen here at Hotspots. And like I said during my short address, this is the beginning of what is surely going to be a very, very, mutually beneficial relationship between NTA and Hotspots. So I'm highly impressed.
And as such, football lovers across the globe are sure of watching live all the matches of AFCON 2019 at the comfort of their homes, offices, and preferred destinations. As it is now, the stage is now set for the live telecast of the African Cup of Nations, Egypt 2019, courtesy of the Nigerian Television Authority, the Africa's largest TV network, and Hotspots Media Nigeria Limited. In Lagos, Olumide Eguntala, NTA News.
The Africa Cup of Nations kicks off Friday in Egypt with 24 teams. Amazi Marcus takes a look at the 6 venues in AFCON countdown.
For the first time, there will be 24 teams with 6 venues in 4 cities, hosting 52 matches of the African World Championship. The Egyptian city of Cairo, founded in 969 AD by the Fatimid dynasty, has grown to become the 15th largest city in the world and is key to the 32nd edition of the Africa Cup of Nations. With a population of 9 million, 3 stadiums in Cairo will be used for AFCON 2019. The Cairo International Stadium, with a seating capacity of 75,000, ranks among the most popular football grounds in the world. The facility was opened in 1960 and hosted past editions of the Africa Cup of Nations in 1974, 1986, and 2006. In 2019, Cairo International Stadium will host Group A matches with hosts Egypt taking on Zimbabwe in the opening match on Friday. It is venue for both the opening and closing ceremonies. Another Cairo-based venue is the 30 June Stadium, inaugurated in 2011 with a capacity for 30,000 and is to host Group C matches. This 30,000-seater Al Salam Sports Facility, also known as the Air Defense Stadium, was constructed in 2009. Group D matches involving Namibia, South Africa, Cote d'Ivoire and Morocco will be decided here. Alexandria, located in the north-central part of Egypt, is the second largest city and situated along the coast of the Mediterranean Sea. The city was founded in 333 BC, while the Alexandria Stadium was built in 1929, the oldest in Egypt, and hosted AFCON in 1986 and 2006. Nigeria, three-time African champions, will open with a June 22 encounter against Burundi at this 20,000-seater stadium that will host all Group B matches. Ismailia, situated on the west bank of the Suez Canal in the northeast of Egypt, has a population of about 370,000. As its population, Ismailia Stadium is the smallest for AFCON 2019, as only a maximum of 18,500 fans can enjoy football here at a time. It is venue for Group F matches. With a population of 750,000, Suez is a seaport city and the Suez Stadium was constructed in 1965. At AFCON 2019, all Group E matches will be played here, with the Cameroon-Guinea match setting the pace on June 25. From all indications, football fans will follow their teams to any of these venues during the June 21 to July 19 AFCON in Egypt. In Abuja, Amanzi Marcus, NTA News.
And that's it on News Extra for tonight. Enjoy the rest of your night. I am Fatima Omar Buba.
Yes.
My name is Jane, and I'm 18, and this is where I hang out with my friends. We are deeply concerned about the problems facing Nigeria, but when it comes to doing something about it, we would rather sit on the fence.
Pull up. Dab, 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 dab. Dab, 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 dab. Yes. Dab, 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 dab. Yes.